Last week, our colleagues walked you through some fun vacations they took, what motivated them in their personal process of getting there. This week, we're going to walk you through how we'll help you prioritize the good to find your best. All right, Jake, so between the two of us, we have done approximately a bazillion meetings with clients, helping them prioritize.
The literal number.
It's a rough number.
Yeah.
And you know, we've shared this even in some of the commentaries we've done, but there's just the challenge isn't that our clients aren't smart, that people don't know what they want out of life. It's weighing the trade-offs. Where are the boundaries? How do we take all of these good options and rank them such that we can create a financial framework?
Absolutely.
So that's what I want to walk through this week. Jake's done as many or more than just about anybody here at the office. Again, the challenge is kind of twofold. One, what motivates you about money? That's what John and Dave shared a little bit about. Is it that you find safety in it? Is it all the fun things that we all love to do with it? Is it taking care of people or doing fun things with the people that we love? The second one then is, how do you do them all safely?
Absolutely.
So when you're sitting down with clients, then the opportunity is we can get this right.
Yes.
How do we here at 10 Capital walk them through the process to help them, again, understand that motivator, as well as crafting a plan that can help get them to great?
Yeah, and to your point, it really is an opportunity. And for us, as you well know, it starts off with truly understanding what makes each client tick, and whether that spouses, partners, an individual, understanding first and foremost that the same part of the brain that gets triggered when you're in mortal danger also gets triggered when you lose money.
Yeah.
You know, that rational brain acts very irrationally.
Which probably comes up even if it's, that would be the protector, but if it's somebody who it's all about doing things for the loved one, the kid comes with the ask.
Correct.
How do I tell them no?
Yeah, so really when it comes down to money motivators, people generally fall into three categories: happiness, protection, and commitment. And obviously big differences between maybe someone who is a very dominant individual within that money motivator or someone who is much more balanced across those three. And as we know, that's the whole point of planning. It changes over someone's lifetime. So first off, understanding the subconscious and what makes people tick, and then slowing that brain down, going into the slow brain. What truly are your priorities? What are the needs, the wants, and the wishes, and how do we prioritize, regardless of what phase your life you are in, what truly is going to get you to the next phase of life, and what is going to make you happy along the way.
When you've done those conversations with clients, as I have, what are some of the different breakthroughs? Because I think maybe one of the misconceptions people have of it is that we're out to change someone.
Sure.
What have you seen between clients in terms of spouses particularly, although it's equally as great just for one person on their own, in terms of the epiphanies that they're able to have when they really understand on a deeper level their spouse?
And I think sometimes it's all about trade-offs. It's if you understand the motivation around why maybe your spouse thinks a certain way, feels about money. As we all know, from a psychology standpoint, a lot of things come from childhood, and maybe you don't even recognize you're thinking that way. But that's the biggest thing we found in those cornerstone conversations, as we call them, bringing spouses together to really get on the same page and using specific exercises so that we can get out of the emotion and just get down to, you outline for me what is important to you and why, so then we can match those up and start having conversations about that.
I can think a common example just to give you an idea of the types of things. I remember this couple coming in. Again, we're not taking unhappy people and making them happy, but there were issues around money as there is in a lot of marriages. And the wife, who was a definite commitment money mind and wanted to do fun and go do things, just looked at her husband with such frustration because he's like, there's not enough, we can't do it, we can't afford it.
Protector.
Well, so when we went through it, what came out was, he talked about one of his highest priorities was protecting his family.
Correct.
And when she realized that it wasn't coming from this hoarder type mentality, but really from the same love that she had for their family, but just from a different way, it helped connect. And then again, we talk trade-offs a lot of time. I think people think trade gone, as in you don't get that. when we're like, hey, you can still safely take care of your family, they're going to be in a great shape, and take that trip.
Sure.
Maybe it's not a 2-week trip, maybe it's a 1-week trip, but find that balance, which is really when we say trade-offs, what we're talking about. Huge breakthroughs. Again, yeah, the finances, but for the two of them understanding it was their same love of family that was driving them. It just manifested in 2 different ways.
And to your point, understanding the emotionality around that up front, the values, before you then move into the money, the data creates a lot of clarity. And as our colleague Charlie always says, clarity creates confidence. So that when you go to execute on that plan, even if there is trade-offs, they're a lot less scary because you understand the motivation and the why around that.
I think the results from this that we can almost guarantee, like our bazillion meaning number earlier, is that you're gonna better understand yourself. You're gonna better understand your spouse. There's gonna be a new level of harmony. The second thing is, again, this isn't about just going without. It's about finding that balance. And when you find that, even if there's a little bit less of something today, you're going to enjoy it so much more when you know you're not robbing your tomorrow. And I think that's ultimately what people are looking for, is to maximize things.
Yeah, it isn't about making it. It's actually about maximizing what you can do with this plan once you start executing.
Yeah. These are the types of things, when you look to a Vanguard or Russell, what's the value of an advisor? You can Google that, and you talk about behavioral finance. It isn't just about panicking at market lows, which I think is how it's often done. It's about helping you find and define your best life and that balance, and then really walk that journey with you to make sure that isn't just a one-time event, but something that becomes a new habit within how you make decisions. With that, any closing thoughts?
When it comes to planning, it really should start with understanding who you are at the core, understanding how the data and the dollars fit into that, and then truly executing on a plan so that you know, as we move through rocky markets or rocky times in your life financially or otherwise, you have that plan and you can execute on that.
With that, thank you so much for joining us on this 2-part series. As always, if any of this piques your interest, you'd like to come through the path, we're here anytime. Thanks so much. With that, thank you so much for joining us on this 2-part series of taking all the goods and finding that one great life. That's horrible too. Ben was so making fun of me with my good to great thing. He's like, oh, my ordinary to extraordinary wasn't good enough, but you're good to great. We'll keep it simple.